It is really, really good to be back in South Carolina. Thanks for the warm welcome and thanks for the work that you're doing. Let's hear it one more time for your fantastic state chair, Crystal Spain, and the whole South Carolina Democratic Party team. And I wanted to particularly acknowledge the work to recruit excellent candidates, making sure that every single race, from the hottest swing race to the toughest uphill fight, has a Democrat ready to run and win. That's paying off right now, and it's great work. I'm looking forward to our discussion. I appreciate the opportunity to share just a few thoughts at the outset. First of all, I bring greetings from rural northern Michigan, where I make my home. I bring greetings from our family, who have been enjoying summer to the fullest. Our son, our twins just celebrated their 5th birthday, so our son is... Little guy's deep in his Lego phase. He's mastering assembly so much. I think in a couple of years he'll be ready to put in an application at the Dreamliner plant over in North Charleston at the pace he's going. Our daughter just lost her first tooth. And I have learned that even the tooth fairy is not immune to 21st century inflation. I remember when a quarter was pretty good, it was made clear to me that the expectation was paper money only under that pillow. But they're doing great, and frankly, I did not expect to be away from the kids and on the road as much as I have been this year, but it's very much for their sake that I know how important it is to be on the road, on the trail, getting out there and working to support good causes and good candidates and great state parties like what we're gathered here today at this Issues Conference to do. I'm going anywhere people will listen to our message of a better everyday life and a renewed American dream, especially to more conservative areas, and doing things like practicing my unexpected specialty of being a Fox News regular, which is not something I ever thought I'd be doing when I got into politics. What I've seen amid all of those travels and all these conversations I've been having around the country has made me believe even more strongly than I did in 2010 when I first put my name on the ballot in Indiana as a political unknown. Something that you already know so well as South Carolina Democrats, which is that there is no such thing as a permanently red state. And I think this year is going a long way toward proving that. Republican rule has failed South Carolina, and it has failed the American people. We know this. The remarkable thing is they know it too. You can tell by looking at their strategy. Their strategy has demonstrated that the Republicans themselves see that they cannot run and win on their policies or on their record. Think about it. They cannot run on their policies because their policies are disastrous and unpopular. When you have spent the last 2 years cutting Medicaid, cutting SNAP, cutting education, raising health care premiums, while cutting taxes for the largest corporations and the wealthiest people in the land, you cannot run on your policies because if they ran on their policies, they would lose. And they can't run on their record because the results have been disgraceful. Since Republicans have spent the last 2 years making groceries more expensive with their tariffs, making mortgages more expensive with their deficits, and making gas more expensive with their illegal war, they cannot possibly run on their record. You can't run on a record of covering up the Epstein files and right? You can't run on a record of doing things like that and obsessively waging culture wars while everything in American life gets harder and not easier, more expensive and not more affordable. Not when you ran on draining the swamp, and now instead you're raking in crypto money and flying around in a second-hand jumbo jet from a foreign prince, and the only thing they've actually managed to drain is that reflecting pool in front of the Lincoln Memorial. They cannot run on a record like that. So, when no one likes your policies and no one can defend your record, they have only one option left to try to stay in power, and that is to change the rules. That's why they're doing this. They're not even trying to persuade voters. The strategy instead is to disempower voters, to rearrange voters with redistricting, to suppress voters, which is exactly what they are doing. It's why you see this frenzy of partisan gerrymandering. Though it's very telling, I think, that they took a look around here in South Carolina and said, maybe we need to hold off on this for a minute around here. That is a reflection of the power of South Carolina Democrats. But you see this culmination of their generational project to dismantle black representation in the United States Congress across the South, culminating in the Supreme Court gutting the Voting Rights Act. It's why you see an unprecedented flood of corporate and dark money to manipulate election outcomes. They know that they are on the wrong side of the people and cannot win an election that is fair and free. But we know something too. We know that even on a tilted playing field, you can win when you are on the right side of the people. And that's why we will win. Because we know that many of our neighbors who haven't always voted our way in the past are ready for change this time around. It's not just Democrats who see that money has gone way too far in our politics, that the system is tilted in all the wrong ways and all the wrong people are laughing all the way to the bank. It's not just Democrats who see that things cannot go on like this, that it doesn't have to be this way, that it is increasingly not about red versus blue. It is about truth versus falsehood and right versus wrong. And our neighbors already understand that God does not belong to a political party in the United States of America. And they definitely know that the United States of America should not be at war halfway across the world yet again with no plan for what's next and no end in sight. Our neighbors know that no matter how they voted in the last election. So in South Carolina and across the country, we can offer something better. We can offer a change in direction and a chance to make things better. And this is important, not just better than now, but better than before. This is not about returning to some previous status quo. If our political and economic and social systems were serving us well for the last few decades, we would not be here right now. All of that is what led to all of this. And I think it's very important for us to remind ourselves of that the current chaos cannot stand, but a return to politics as usual will not do either. We are not here merely to reverse the damage or to offer a way to go back to the way things were. We are here to meet the future and make it better for everyone. Now, the first time I turned up in South Carolina, it wasn't for politics. I was in uniform, sent here for combat training at a little place called Camp McCready down the road from Fort Jackson. But the first time I got to know many of you was 8 years ago when I did what any successful second-term mayor of the fourth largest city in Indiana would do and sought the nomination for the presidency. We may have even met right here in Florence, a little field office that we opened, or at Gallivan's Ferry Stump, or around the debate that was held in Charleston. That campaign obviously did not lead me to the nomination 8 years ago, but it did lead to the enormous honor of serving as your U.S. Secretary of Transportation under President Joe Biden. And I'm proud of what we achieved. We made roads and railroads safer. We expanded the rights of airline passengers and held powerful corporations accountable. We also made sure that more of those who had been excluded in the past had a chance to compete and earn business opportunities and research partnerships with the department. I knew that there had been a lot of promises in the past, so we focused on putting our money where our mouth was. We increased the department's contracts with small and disadvantaged businesses by almost $2 billion. And we awarded $435 million to HBCUs doing excellent work, including Benedict College and South Carolina State here in South Carolina. And to be clear, we did that not as a favor, but because we recognized that their excellence in transportation research and workforce development was a benefit to the American people. And we made sure that funding was available to connect once vibrant communities that were divided when highways and railroads were built directly through them. Overall, we funded over 70,000 infrastructure projects, including hundreds of projects right here in South Carolina, working on everything from replacing the bridges over Lake Marion to expanding the concourse at Myrtle Beach Airport to easing traffic on I-526 in Charleston County, just to name a few. Now, one of the best things about the bipartisan infrastructure law was that it was bipartisan. I know that this is a partisan gathering, but I do want to mention we worked with a lot of Republican leaders across the country to implement that law, including your late senior senator. Lindsey Graham voted for that bill. He said it was good for South Carolina, and he was right. But I must point out that not one Republican that this state sent to the House of Representatives joined him. Not one. And yet, whenever there was a transportation and infrastructure win, I could always count on some South Carolina congressional Republican to take credit for something they voted against. It's really remarkable. It's exactly the kind of behavior that makes people cynical about politics and government. But it doesn't have to be that way. That's why we're here. Americans, I am convinced, are ready for something different. Americans know that politics can be better than this, that it can be used to build trust instead of break trust. That politics doesn't have to be a cage match or a blood sport. I think people want a future where you look at your leaders in action and actually feel your blood pressure go down a little bit instead of up through the roof. Wouldn't that be nice? But it requires focusing on what actually matters to make everyday life different and better. Not launching illegal wars abroad and culture wars at home, not governing by tweet and insult, not endless drama. People want results, and we can deliver. We can deliver an economy where one job is enough, which is how it ought to be. We can deliver health care not as a privilege for the few, but as a right for all. We can deliver an education system worthy of the world's leading economy, where there are excellent public schools where students get the resources they need and teachers get the respect that they deserve. And we can make all of this possible with a tax code that sees billionaires paying at least as high a tax rate as teachers and firefighters, not a lower one like they are today. Most Americans are already looking for that. We can deliver a government that works properly, that holds corporations accountable, so that people can get more time back in their day and more money back in their pockets. And we can deliver a government that respects people's freedom. From the freedom to criticize your government without retribution, to the freedom to be who you are and love who you love, and yes, a woman's freedom to make her own health care decisions. That is not too much to ask. But to deliver all of that, we've got to be at work immediately to deliver a better political system too. And that's the biggest thing that I want to stress. Like I said, the first time I came to this state was in uniform. And the next several times I came to this state was to ask for something, to ask for your votes when I was a candidate. And the next few times after that, I came to offer something, infrastructure funding. But now I'm here to propose something, which is that reforming our broken political system is the work of our time. For far too long, we've been shaking our head at our broken political system, saying it's broken, and then acting like it wasn't. And even though it seems like I'm preaching to the choir on this, I must say there are a lot of voices in our own party saying that we can't deal with the political system until after we fix the economy. I'm here to insist that the only way to do one is to do the other at the very same time. It is time for an end to the partisan gerrymandering being used to wipe out fair representation and entrench supermajorities out of step with the American people. A system where 4 in 10 people, at least in this state, vote Democrat, and yet somehow Mr. Clyburn is all alone in the whole federal delegation that this state sends to Washington. People know that that is not fair, and it's got to change. It's also time for an end to the presidential election being the only one in this country where you can earn the most votes and still not win. And I should add that a national popular vote would mean that the people of South Carolina play a role in the general election as well as in the primary, because you deserve attention in the fall, too. And it is time to end the descent of our judiciary and Supreme Court into a nakedly partisan institution losing legitimacy by the day. We cannot be afraid to reform our courts, especially after what they've done. And it is definitely time to end the onslaught of dark money in our politics. And if that takes a constitutional amendment, so be it. Look, I know that down here in South Carolina, you know a lot about standing up to broken systems. You know a thing or two about standing up to injustice. And South Carolina Democrats could teach the National Party a thing or two about the relationship between the struggle for justice in our political system and the struggle for fairness in our economic policies. Where those issues meet is, I believe, the defining question of the 2020s. And I'm honored to be able to discuss it with you here at this Issues Conference. So thank you for having me.